Good afternoon. I am Society Archer, and this afternoon we will be resuming our read-through of the Poetic Edda, translation by Carolyne Larrington. Today's chapter will be pretty short, but it is the poem of Volund. The poem of Volund appears to be a combination of two poems. The first, the tale of the Swan Maidens. The second, the tale of Volund's imprisonment and his revenge. Volund is a strange character, neither human nor divine. At one point he is referred to as Prince of Elves. Since we know so little about elves in the Norse mythic scheme, we cannot prove or disprove this attribution. Volund's story was known in England as well as Scandinavia. The Old English poem Dior refers allusively to the sufferings of Volund and the misery of Bedelhild, while high-quality swords are sometimes called in Old English poetry Volund's work. The smith is often regarded as an outsider and as possessing supernatural powers in a wide range of cultures. The antisocial noisiness of his work and the mysterious ability to transform unpromising lumps of metal into precious tools, weapons, and jewelry may account for this. Another version of the story is given in Thydrek's saga. Naidud was the name of a king among the Swedish people. He had 2 sons and 1 daughter. She was called Bodvild. There were 3 brothers, sons of the Lappish king. One was called Slagfid, the second Egil, the third Volund. They went on skis and hunted wild animals. They came to Wolfdale and there built themselves a house. There is a lake there called Wolf Lake. Early in the morning they found 3 women on the lake shore, and they were spinning linen. Near them were their swans' garments. They were Valkyries. There were 2 daughters of King Hlodvir, Hladgud the Swan White, and Horvor the strange creature. The third was Olrun, the daughter of Kyr of Volund. They took them home to the hall with them. Egil took Olrun and Slagfid Swan White, and Volund strange creature. They lived together 7 winters. Then the women flew off to go to battles and did not come back. Then Egil skied off to look for Olrun, and Slagfid went looking for Swan White, and Volund sat in Wolfdales. He was the most skillful of men that men knew of in the ancient stories. King Nidhud had him seized, as is told of here. Girls flew from the south across Mirkwood, strange young creatures to fulfill fate. There on the lake shore they sat to rest. The southern ladies spun precious linen. One of them began to enclose Egil in her arms, the fair living girl in bright embrace. Another was Swan White, she wore swan feathers, and the third, their sister, wound her arms around Volund's white neck. They stayed thus for 7 winters, but all the 8th they suffered anguish. And in the 9th necessity parted them. The girls yearned for the dark wood, the strange young creatures to fulfill fate. Then came from hunting the weather-eyed shooter. Slagfid and Egil found the halls empty. They went in and out and looked around. Egil skied off east after Olrun, and Slagfid went south after Swan White. But Volund sat alone in Wolfdales. He struck red gold about a firm-set gem. He closed up all the serpent rings well, so he waited for his shining woman, if she were to make her way back to him. Nidhud heard, lord of the Niar, that Volund sat alone in Wolfdales. By night men journeyed, their corslets studded. Their shields glinted in the waning moon. They dismounted from their saddles at the hall's gable wall. They went in there all along the hall. They sought on the bast rope rings threaded, 700 in all, which this warrior owned. And they took them off, and they put them back, all but one which they left off. Then there came from hunting the weather-eyed shooter, Volund traveling over the long road. He went to roast the flesh of the brown she-bear, high burned with kindling the very dry fur, the wind-dried wood in front of Volund. He sat on a bearskin counting rings. The prince of elves, he missed one. He thought that Hlodvir's daughter, the strange young creature, had come back again. He sat so long that he fell asleep, and he awoke deprived of joy. He felt on his hands pressing heavy bonds, and on his feet a fetter clasped. Who are the princes, those who have placed upon me this bastrobe and bound me? Now Nidud called, Lord of the Niara, where did you get, Volund, Lord of Elves, this gold of ours in Wolfdales? The gold was not there in Grani's road. Far, I think, is our land from the hills of the Rhine. I remember that we owned greater riches when the couples were all together at home. Hlagud and Herver, children of Hladvir, Olrun, Kyr's daughter, was famous. She went in right along the hall, stood on the floor, and said with a low voice, He is not very friendly, this one who came out of the forest. He bares his teeth when the sword is shown before him, and he recognizes Bodvild's ring. His eyes are like those of a shining serpent. Cut from him the might of his sinews, and afterwards put him in Syverstad. Volund said, There shines at Nidud's belt a sword, which I sharpen most skillfully as I know how, and I tempered as seemed to me best. That gleaming blade is forever borne far from me. I shall not see that brought to Volund in the smithy. Now Baldvild wears my bride's. I don't expect redress for this, red gold rings. He sat, nor did he sleep. Ceaselessly he struck with his hammer. Subtle things he shaped quite quickly for Nidud. The two young men came to see precious things, the sons of Nidud, to Zyvarstad. They came to the chest, demanded the keys. The evil was patent when they looked inside. A multitude of treasures which seemed to the boys to be red gold and jewelry. Come alone, you two. Come another day. I shall have that gold given to you. Don't tell the girls, nor the household, nor any man that you'll visit me. Early called one lad to the other, brother to brother, let's go to see the rings. They came to the chest, demanded the keys. The evil was patent when they looked inside. He cut off the heads of these young cubs, and out of the mud of the forge he laid their limbs. And their skulls, which were under their hair, he chased with silver, gave to Nidud. And he set the precious stones from their eyes, he sent to Nidud's cunning wife. And from the teeth of the two he struck round brooches, sent them to Bodvild. Then Bodvil began to praise the rings she'd broken. I dare not tell anyone except you alone. I will so repair the break in the gold that your father will think it fair, and your mother much better, and you yourself as good as before. He overcame her with beer because he was clever, so that on the couch she fell asleep. Now I have avenged my sorrow, all except one of the wicked injuries. Good for me, said Volund, if I were on my webbed feet, of which Nidud's warriors deprive me. Laughing, Volund rose into the air. Weeping, Bodvild went from the island. She grieved for her lover's departure and her father's fury. Outside stood Nodid's cunning wife, and she went inside all along the hall. And he on the hall wall perched him to rest himself. Are you awake, Nidud, lord of the Niarar? I am always awake, deprived of joy. I sleep very little since my son's deaths. It's icy in my head, cold are your counsels to me. I wish now that I could talk with Volund. Tell me, Volund, prince of elves, what became of my healthy young cubs? First you shall give me all these oaths, by the side of a ship and the rim of a shield, the back of a horse and the edge of a blade, that you will not torment Volund's lady, nor be the slayer of my bride, though I have a wife who is known to you, and we have a child inside your hall. Go to the smithy, the one you built. There you'll find bellows spattered with blood. I cut off the heads of your young cubs, and in the mud of the forge I laid their limbs. And their skulls which were under their hair I chased with silver, sent them to Nidud. And the precious stones from the eyes I sent to Nidud's cunning wife. And from the teeth of the two I struck round brooches, sent them to Bodvild. Now Bodvild is with child, the only daughter of you both. You could say no words that would grieve me more, nor, Volund, would I deny you any worse of fate. There is no man so tall that he could reach you from horseback, nor so powerful that he could shoot you down from below, there where you hover against the cloud. Laughing, Volund rose in the air, and Nidud sadly sat there behind. Get up, Thrakrad, my best thrall. Ask Bodvild, the white-lashed girl, to come in splendid clothes to speak with her father. Is it true, Bodvild, what they said to me? Did you and Volund sit together on the island? It is true, Nidud, what he said to you. Volund and I sat together on the island alone for a tide-turning time. It should never have happened. I did not know how to strive against him. I was not able to strive against him. And that was the poem of Volund. Until next time.